But I'm very happy that these new ideas that we are getting in of smart cities, smart transportation, in a way smart solution to so many of the problems that we are all facing, it in itself is a good idea to think through all the issues that we want to embark upon, the new ideas that we want to play with. I know transportation particularly is going to be playing a very key role, because if you create such large cities like 100 cities, smart cities, obviously people are going to migrate there from somewhere. And the necessity of migration would mean that there has to be a supporting transport system. Also, when we are thinking of creating new clusters for industry, we are also making sure that more and more value-added products are going to be made for agriculture, would itself need a huge transportation of goods of various kinds, raw material, finished goods, and other intermediary products. And therefore, I think transportation itself will have to be smart enough to follow this new trend that is going to take place in the country. But railways will have to be extremely focused on new technologies. Railways will have to play a very important role in connecting those places where we are not yet connected. Railways will have to be actually playing a role in terms of decongesting its operations. Railways will have to be extremely technology oriented, and all of that is something which we want to get in. And I'm sure some of these ideas that will generate from here would help me to also implement them. But I'm saying there is a law in India which is called Forest Conservation Act, which says, and that is a Supreme Court judgment way back in 1996, which defined what is forest. Unlike many other laws, the forest was not defined in the Forest Conservation Act. So therefore, when the Supreme Court has given a judgment and said what is forest land, because there is a law of the land which says that no forest land can be used for any other purpose unless you have a follow process, which is a very long process, in which any diversion of forest land requires double of that or equivalent of that, depending upon the situation. The land should be afforested with the compensation from the revenue land. So this is the law. So therefore, I think I'm sure we need to find out all the solutions that we talk about cannot be done unless we actually keep heed to the legal provision that we have in the country. And in addition to that, we have a law, or rather the policy. We said 33% of the land of the country should be covered by forest. So therefore, this again is there. So unless you change these ideas, then we cannot bring in. So probably sometimes what happens is we try to deal with particular issue, disregarding the overall national priority that we have. In any case, we have only 2.2% of the land. And therefore, unless we do the national planning of entire land use, and we make sure that what land should be used for forest, what land we should use for non-forest purposes, in that again, there's going to be a bigger challenge of food security. So if you want to divert the land from agriculture to non-agriculture, how are you going to take care of food security? So while we need to look into one sectoral issues of urbanization, we cannot disregard overall issues of how we should really do it. Also the forest, if you think that this is something which a crazy law has been made, if we do not have forest, we do not keep the green cover that is necessary, and the forest cover and green cover are two different things entirely. If we don't do that, I am also sure that we may have smart cities, but if we do disregard to the overall concern about the ecology, we may little later also have problems. So we have to balance it properly. We need smart but also sustainable approach. And I think all of that would need an overall thinking about it. So when we discuss issues in silos, how do we make sure that they fall in the national priorities is a big challenge. So I'm sure Businessworld would look at the business, but in the world of what we really need to do holistically. I'm sure that will really solve the problem. Thank you very much.